Well, let's do it live on a first Friday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily. I am merely Bo. He is the great Z. How you living, buddy? Fireside chats in May.
I love being near the fire. I love being near you.
Sure.
Gibbe, and how about this? You know that this show is really cooking with gas when on his day off, Big Drew, a.k.a. Yellowstone, just wants to come in and sit in on set and just hang out and be a part of the party.
Just listen to us converse.
Yeah.
And on that note, he walks out and leaves.
Well, the good news is it's a medium that he can travel with.
That's true.
He can take it anywhere he wants. But there is something about being in the room. There's something about, the electricity, the horse sense that you get from being here in person.
That's a great line, horse sense.
It is good.
That's a good job out of you.
It is. Well, I can't take all the credit. It's one of my favorite lines from What About Bob?
You would not want, ideally, you would not want to be doing a fireside chat in May because theoretically spring has sprung. Flowers blooming, Kentucky Derby, all of these things.
Wrong.
Not here.
Nope.
Not here, kids.
Erroneous. In fact, it is. If you can see my shoe here.
Yep.
I took a step into what appeared to be solid dirt to try to get away from the puddles that were out there.
Yeah.
Straight through, straight down. Almost, it's one of those ones you almost can step out of your shoe.
Oh no,
that's never a good scene. So that made me pretty sad. I was bummed about that.
Bootsy had a big field trip to Hale Farm today, so they all went out there. Fantastic timing to go walk around a farm.
It's gonna be awful.
Put the mudders on.
I was gonna say it's a mud
when
fest.
I got him all suited up today, and he was in like bogs, like winter boots. He was in rain gear, poncho, like hand warmers. Like it was just a scene, man. Like what are we doing? Like it's field trip time. Throw some sunshine down. Nobody gets hurt.
Nobody. Let's do it.
No. Yeah, it's brutal. It's absolutely brutal. I think we have to also be at like apex amount of saturation a lawn can take.
No, there's no doubt. We can't hold any more water.
There's no more. It's like put a sponge in a tub of water and lift it. We're at max.
I know, and I'm hoping chase a small ball around maybe a little bit here later in the week this weekend.
There's zero chance.
No. I don't agree with that. It's just going to be a mutter.
You're going to
be a mutter.
Path and you're going to be.
Oh yeah, it's going to be a mutter.
Cart path and mud. Ball's going to plug.
Plugging. What are we doing?
Yeah, in May, it's not right. It's not right.
It's just not nice enough here, the majority of the time, to be this bad in May. Like
somebody told me that this is what we get for not having a lot of snow in February. I said, give me the snow in February. I'm prepared.
I'm
ready
it all.
for it.
In fact, give me the snow in December. I'd love
take it.
Give me that white Christmas, baby.
Give me all of it. I'll take it then.
Yeah.
In exchange for this. This is bad stuff.
This is awful. It's rotten.
Can I tell you something else that's awful? This is something else that's awful. I am a man of simple pleasures. I find that now I'm a man in my 40s. I'm very specific of things I like and don't.
Fair.
For example.
You're discerning.
That's right. For example, I like my coaches in basketball to wear suits. I like a suit and tie on a coach. I like the look of that. And that's not a hill for me to die on. I just like it. I don't like everybody in a tracksuit and a quarter zip coaching NBA, okay? Or college hoops. I like in the hoops, I like in any sport other than football, I like a white or light-colored jersey on the home team. So if I'm watching a game, I like seeing, for example, the Boston Celtics in white if they're playing at the Boston Garden, and opposing team in blue in the Boston Garden. Another thing that I like is I like to go to bed. So I don't particularly like the idea of a proposed 10 o'clock start for a game that I think everybody wants to watch.
It's absurd that they're
tipping at 10-12 last night, by the way, 10-12. Because
I know.
The other one went long. And the other one was fine. But everyone's waiting for Steph LeBron. It's on. Why? I want you got ties to TNT. I want one explanation that makes any damn sense why you would punt on the East Coast of the United States of America for anybody who goes to school or, I don't know, has a job, because I don't understand it. I watched by the way, it was awesome. The game was awesome. I watched for a half. The first half was extraordinary. It was 65-64 at half.
Oh, yeah.
It was a heavyweight fight in the second round of the NBA playoffs.
Well, it feels like it's the championship.
Right. With two guys who LeBron's been the face of the league for 20 years. Curry's been his co-face of the year for the last decade, and they are the two most important players of the last decade plus. And for some reason, I went to bed. It was 11:20 at half. 11:20.
So I was going to say, I was out at the Great Spodos last night.
Gosh, it's your spot.
Having an awesome time.
When you come in, is it at 8:8?
Yeah, well, we would go in there. We usually are there. We get there around 7. And it's usually just me and my boys, Russ and Hirsch. And Woody came out last night, which was great. And my guy Burns. So when we come in there, there's some of that. And then the people, the proprietors certainly they get excited. And we all have a great time. We eat a bunch of wings. And yesterday was a great sports day. So you had
awesome.
The Guardians was on. You had the first playoff game that was on. The why is it eluding me right now? The Knicks Heat, which was a great game. So you had that. And then to your point, I got home at 11 and left the bar 10:40ish. By the way, we set records yesterday. Some records were set, which was fun. I left at 10:40. I left at the end of the first quarter.
That's right.
At 10:40.
10:40. Yeah, it was 11:20 halftime.
Did a quarter of the population in the continental United States actually make it to the second half?
No.
I mean, did you have a quarter of
more
the
than
population?
That.
No,
did
because
not.
We did this exercise one time in terms of the amount of population that is in the Central and Eastern time. Like, there's basically nobody in Mountain. I want to say it's over 50% of the U.S. population is in Eastern and Central time, and you are punting on them. At the very least, you're making it very difficult for them to watch your product.
Yes.
Okay? So I don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't know what Turner's thinking of in it. I don't know why they're doing it. I don't know why you would ever put a tip time with this type of juice at 10 o'clock.
The only thing I can think is that that this was all locked in, that this, regardless of who was in the games. But in my mind, these games need to all be in prime time. Everything else is second fiddle, because these games, you saw the ratings for the Warriors-Kings Game 7.
I did, yes.
Okay, so now you have the Warriors and L.A., Curry and LeBron. They should be the focal point game of this round of the playoffs. Whenever they're on, that's the one that gets
on at 8:30 in the East.
Perfect spot.
At the latest, 8:30 in the East, so you have a chance.
Yep.
And there won't be one. There's an 8:30 game on Saturday in that series, and that's it.
That's it.
And I don't get it.
I think it's a huge miss. I even think if you said, well, we got to, you start maybe the East Coast game at 7, and then you get that to start at 7:30 so people can maybe finish this one and then hop in and still be able to see the end. Or I think you'll get more ratings just by having that game in primetime than you would if you added up the two blocks.
It almost feels like Turner doesn't care about the ratings because they're doing this again on Thursday. They're 10 o'clock. Or no, Thursday's ESPN, and that's, I think, 9:30. It's late. I think it's 9. I think they play Thursday. I know the ESPN, and then they have 8:30, and then it's 10 again. So it's 2 10s, it's a 9, and then it's an 8:30 on Saturday night. So Saturday night's the only one that, like, my kids, the only one they'll have a chance at watching any of is that
9 o'clock Thursday.
Okay, so that's ESPN, though.
Yep.
So ESPN's putting them at 9. So you got a chance.
Yep.
I'll watch that. That'll get me to 11.
Saturday's 8:30.
Yeah. And then next Monday, I want to say it's Monday, is back to 10.
Back to 10 o'clock.
That's Turner. So the next two games are on. And I love the Turner guys. They're my guys. And I know they're all cross-pollinating because they got Turner. Turner and ESPN both have the NBA and NHL.
Yes.
So it's flipping back and forth every night. But I don't – it's stupefying to me. I don't get it. I don't understand it. And you can save it with the West Coast tip time stuff. Dude, in those cities, those coastal cities, does anyone work past 4 o'clock?
No, absolutely
Never.
not. You could be just fine. Agreed.
There's no chance. Like, you could tip a game there at 5:30, which would get you 8:30, and you're fine.
Yep.
You'll find a way to get to that game.
Yep.
You'll find a way. It just was so infuriating. You mentioned the so going on early, you mentioned the Knicks and Heat.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, game 1 of the NHL was the Leafs and Panthers. And everything's doing well ratings. Like, the NBA's up and the NHL's up. NHL is up significantly.
Live stuff is
it's killing it.
Killing it.
That's
yes.
it. Brings it back to the football paradigm we talk about all the time in terms of the amount of people that are watching this stuff. 54 million people watch the draft. It's crazy.
54 million. And I love that we got recalculated numbers on the Super Bowl.
We did. Got those.
Now we're at 115 million.
Right. Amazing.
Cool.
It's great.
I don't know
where'd they come from?
I don't know.
Hanging Chads?
We are 4 months. Or no,
Remember
we're
that?
2 months removed.
Right when I moved to Tallahassee.
Yeah, that was
I was a kid. That was the.
I want to say Bush Gore.
Bush Gore.
Hanging Chads, baby. Didn't fully punch it. Chad was hanging.
God, it's crazy.
What a time.
Yeah. Leafs Knicks. Had them both on. Dual screening. It was amazing the juxtaposition between Leafs fans and Knicks fans. So the Leafs haven't won since the 60s. I want to say like 67, the Leafs haven't won the Cup. They haven't really won anything since the 60s. Not a conference title.
But they are
anything.
a popular team.
They are I think what they are is, and there's a lot of parallels with us, but the city is obviously quite a bit bigger. So it's almost it's a little bit like the Knicks, honestly, who haven't won since the 70s.
Yep.
Except the Knicks have at least got to the conference finals. It'd be like the Yankees, except if the Yankees never won, it'd be what the Maple Leafs are for that sport. So the Leafs go down 3-2, and you hear a pin drop, and the nerviness of the building just evaporates the home team. Like, no chance. Cooked. You could tell. They were done at that point.
Too much pressure, baby.
Oh, my God.
Just a good feel.
Oh,
it's
you
palpable.
could feel it. It was just too much.
Okay.
And they're the favorite to win the Stanley Cup because all the favorites have been knocked out in the first round.
Right.
Including Boston, who is historically good. Now you flip it to the Knicks and Heat. The Heat are, without this entire series and all the playoffs, Tyler Hero. So he's out. That's 22 a game. He hasn't played at all and is not going to play. He had surgery.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler is in a tank top on the bench.
Yep.
With a grin as if he ate a canary and he were a cat. Okay? Knicks fans are celebrating as if they've won the finals.
Because they won game 2.
They won game 2. They're down 1-0. Miami's done what they've come to do. They've got home court back.
Yep.
They've got it.
Yep.
And the Knicks fans are so chesty. I had to respect it. I had to be like, my God, but you think about it, like, they might be the best fan base in all of sports. Think about it. It's one of the most expensive tickets that you could get.
Yeah.
They sell it out always.
Oh, yeah.
You cannot get season tickets. They've sucked forever. They haven't been to a final since 98. It's a long time since John Starks was running through the building. Allen Houston, Latrell Sprewell, Larry Johnson. And they have perhaps the worst ownership situation in sports. So all of that, and they still go nuts as if it's a finals game.
When Hart made the 3 in the corner, it was you would have
pandemonium.
You thought that he made the shot in Game 7 of the NBA Finals.
Larry O'Brien, was ready to come out.
Yeah,
confetti.
And this was
no,
no, it's just Game
2.
It's great.
Of the Eastern Conference
semifinals.
It was an awesome
crazy.
atmosphere, though. It was cool to watch.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it is.
Well, I think there are that one, the old Oracle. I don't know how this new joint is for Golden State. It feels like they're pretty into it. And then Staples. Staples has that juice to it. A lot of people want to take shots at Lakers games. There's an atmosphere to Laker games for sure. And there's great fans. Like they would be that too. But it struck me last night watching the Knicks and just thinking like, God, these people, and it's the same people. Spike's still sitting there. John McEnroe. It's the same people you've seen for 30 years going to Knicks games, and they've got nothing. They're like Laker fans, except they don't ever win.
No. I will say, watching the lead up to this game, the hype video they kind of put together that ran through all the old stuff with Oakley and Sprewell and Tim Hardaway and Starks and the whole Heat-Knicks rivalry was pretty good stuff. That got me pretty pumped. But Knicks fans have had, at least in our lifetimes, because I have one of my buddies is a D-Strom, huge Knicks fan. You're right. It's been a while since they had that Allen Houston, Anthony Mason.
That's 98.
Yeah, I guess it is a long time.
25 years ago.
I was in college. Yeah.
We're going to date ourselves a little bit. Like,
Jeez Louise.
we remember it like it was yesterday, but it was 25 years ago that they were in the mix. They were the 8th seed. That was a strike-shortened year. Jordan had just retired. They were the 8th seed. The biggest thing that they did was and it was one of the stupidest things of all time, they traded for Carmelo Anthony to the Denver Nuggets as opposed to just waiting for him to hit free agency. If he just hit free agency, they could have kept their core together, which was Gallinari and Chandler and all those guys.
Yep.
And then they landed Stoudemire. So it was like Carmelo and Stoudemire was supposed to be the operation. Their whole operation for 20 years has been cap space for LeBron. That was it.
And they never got it.
Never
pulled it off. Carmelo was always good, and they would never win in the playoffs, right? They'd lose every series in the first round or maybe one round.
I don't know that I think one time he maybe got to a Western Conference final with Denver.
With Denver, yeah.
With Chauncey Billups and Kenyon Martin, maybe. but not much. No.
By the, I think Allen Houston, if he played in today's NBA, would be awesome.
Oh, he could stroke it. Yeah.
Him and Prince from Detroit.
Tayshaun Prince. Yeah.
Because he had the length.
Yeah, he was.
But he'd be more of a. He's still more of a D. I mean, Tayshaun Prince was very good in his day, but he's more of a D guy. Allen Houston was just like would score the
He was
basketball.
autopilot, man.
So smooth.
Yeah, he was. He was.
Silky.
But it was a fun night, and I wish I could have watched all of it.
Cool Trav says, haha, I work in tech company based in Santa Clara. People are not just shutting off at 4 local time. My Warrior coworkers would be livid if games were starting at 5 local time. Yeah, but whenever the Niners play in Monday Night Football or the
It's
Rams
fine.
play in Monday Night Football, it's 5:30
It's
start,
packed.
5:20.
It's fine.
And by the way,
fine.
it's packed starting at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You build, you just deal. It's the playoffs.
Yeah,
We all make allowances.
Yeah, it's fine.
Employers, employees,
Yeah.
everybody. Let's all get on the same
5:30
page.
tips would be fine. It would absolutely be fine.
Totally.
And anytime I've ever been, now I realize this is, I mean, the places that I vacation in California are all coastal.
Yep.
So you're talking about Orange County and Santa Barbara and Pebble and all the way up. But like, feels like there's a lot of people surfing at 1 o'clock on a Tuesday,
There are a lot of people living the good life, man.
living their best life, man.
I just think that this is likely, maybe not likely, maybe that's an overstatement, but could be likely that this is going to be the last LeBron, Steph.
At the very least, it's
One of the
one
last.
of the last.
Like,
Once or
let everybody
twice, I
watch
mean-
this.
Yeah, let's make it a little more accessible for the people.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's brutal.
Yeah.
Absolutely brutal. And it feels like it would be a simple fix, to say the least. Gibby wants to know what's the biggest remaining need for this Browns team.
Which is a great, that was a S Buckeye transition.
You like that?
Just out of nowhere, right
like
back to the biggest need. I still would
Welcome back to the slow time of the year.
I would like. No, we still haven't really gone in depth on the
We will
last
today.
final 4 picks.
It's in the rundown.
I still think that we need a third safety, and I would like a veteran or somebody who has some familiarity with Jim Schwartz that is dependable, reliable, and I still think we need another running back. I think Jerome Ford. I love Jerome Ford. I think Jerome Ford is going to play a big role for us. I think it would be nice to have a guy though who, like we thought a DeAndre Swift could be, or like a McKinnon could be, where that's a good pass protector on third downs and is a great space player.
Yeah.
And maybe Ford can be that. I mean, hopefully he's worked on his, pass blocking, all of that, and maybe he can do that. But if not, I still think we need somebody else in there, because if Nick were to miss any time, saying now we have Jerome Ford and what?
Right.
John Kelly, who's looked good in the preseasons, but Jerome Ford looked in the preseasons. We haven't seen either of those guys in the regular season.
Right.
I just feel like you maybe need somebody else in the mix.
Yeah, that feels like it. And I know you mentioned it, I would love to see a veteran on the D-line added right around camp time, whether that's D-end or D-tackle. It doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah.
But I'd like one more guy there who's kind of got a little bit of a veteran savvy on that front.
Yeah, and that could be, a Frank Clark.
Yeah, one of those type
come
of
on
guys.
home, one of those kind of guys.
Yeah.
We'll
Guy,
see, and
early
then,
30s, 1-year deal.
and then we'll see. I think also how does Siaki Ika look? What's going on with Perrion? We're going to get a whole offseason with these people. What does Obo Okoronkwo look like? Is Isaiah McGuire maybe more ready to play than we thought? What has Alex Smith taken a huge leap year one to, or Alex Wright? I'm sorry,
Yeah.
your huge leap year 1 to year 2. I think that you'll have the flexibility to do. I think that's like a camp ad when we know kind
Yes.
of going through all of this.
Yeah.
Okay, this isn't going to work. In my mind, it's what should have happened last year at receiver, right?
Yeah.
We were trying to
We
go
talked
through
about it all the time.
Yeah, if Anthony Schwartz is the guy, great. If not, let's go get somebody in here
Yep.
who can play. And Anthony Schwartz, unfortunately, was not the guy.
No, we talked about that, I think, probably every day in camp, that was something that needed to be addressed and would have liked to have been addressed and was not. So we'll see. But yeah, I think those are the two spots that you need one more dude. To your point, in the backfield, I think I'd like to see a veteran presence on the defensive line. I think, probably safety. You need some depth there too, I think. But that's stuff that you can play out by the time you get there.
So the new match has been announced.
Come again?
Have you seen this? The latest installment of The Match.
Is this the golf?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Where are we playing?
That I don't know, but I can tell you who
Okay.
is playing. It's a battle of teammates. Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce are taking on Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. And
I
based
don't
on
care.
I don't care either, but what I know, Steph Curry is the best golfer in this.
Steph Curry
For
is like
sure.
with Romo, right? Like one of the best
Yes.
professional athletes who's
Yes.
also a golfer.
Yes. And Klay is a golf fanatic. I don't know that I've ever heard anything about Travis Kelce playing golf.
And Mahomes is fine, but he's not.
He's a single digit, but he's not like.
Here's the deal.
This feels to me like this could be
It'll be at Wynn Las Vegas.
Of course.
a smoking.
Here's what I think with that.
Yeah.
And it's got nothing to do. The way that the match works is the way that it was done originally. Okay? So what did we get? The two that were done during the COVID time. You got the one that was done at Seminole, which no one had ever seen Seminole.
Which was cool because
Which
of
was
that.
really cool. Like Seminole's a legendary course. No one's ever seen it. So all of a sudden there were cameras on Seminole, and you got to see it. And it was Justin Thomas. It was all the TaylorMade guys. Rory,
Yep,
Justin
yep,
Thomas,
yep.
all those guys.
Yep.
So then the other one they did was Tiger and Phil. Phil with Brady, Tiger with Peyton Manning, and that was at the one that Tiger belongs to
in
in
Florida.
Palm Beach.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm blanking on the name of it, but it's the one that all those guys live at in Palm Beach. So that's also
where they hit some money shots in that one.
So that's two things. You got remember the weather was garbage. It was raining. That was
Yep.
during the pandemic. But you got two things with that. You got legitimate great golfers, all-time great golfers,
Feel like that matters.
which matters.
Yes.
Right?
Agreed. Yep.
And you also got two all-time great quarterbacks who have a known rivalry, now become a friendly rivalry, and Peyton Manning, who's probably the best athlete on a mic that we have.
Totally. Yep.
So you had all of that to it.
Yep.
So you can't compare that with going to Wynn to watch two NFL players play two NBA players.
Yeah, I don't get it. That doesn't appeal to me.
Not at all.
And I feel like the NBA guys are going to smush them. Like,
Yeah, so you have a course that we've seen a lot. We've seen the Wynn course a lot.
it's a hotel resort course.
Yeah. So you see that all the time. Is it still $500 to play there?
Probably too much.
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Right. So you've got that, and then you've got a bunch of guys who are – I mean, Steph's a great golfer, but he's not Tiger Woods.
I mean, are they going to have Charles Barkley walking around with them? You know
How
what
many
I mean? They
things can Charles, like,
I don't know, but that's
add juice to? Like, that's
Right.
his whole operation is that. Like, they just
Yeah.
bring him into paratroop into situations. Like, even the one they did in Montana was memorable because you'd never seen that course.
never seen it. Yep.
You know, there's a potential for a 700-yard drive. Like, that type of stuff. Like,
Yep.
I mean, go to that Wolf Creek place that you played.
Yeah.
That's unique. That's nobody's seen that course on television. What does that look like? Having a
That
pro
would be
play that
awesome.
Yeah.
They should play a pro tournament there. Like,
They should.
I want to know what those guys would shoot there. I'm curious. They just played last week. I think the Mexico Open was at Vedanta in Puerto Vallarta, where I'll be down there, not at Vedanta, but in Puerto Vallarta soon. And it's a hotel resort course. I think they were like 25 under or
Right.
26 under won it. Like those courses.
Yeah, they were 22 and 20 when I was watching
Yeah.
with Finau and Rahm.
Like those courses aren't good. That's what I'm saying. This would like go someplace cool. Like
Yeah.
that picture you showed us of that fairway that looked like it was 1,000 feet below you, and then going at an angle almost perpendicular to that you had to try to hit and land. And if not, it's
Sold.
gone. Yeah, sold.
Show me something different, man. That game is on that EA game that I have. That
Oh,
I play
yeah.
with the boys. That course is like you have got to pay attention to the dramatic elevation shifts because it's 150 feet. One of the tee shots is 154 feet down.
Yes. Yeah.
How do you even understand how to hit that?
And you hit like 7-iron.
right. Like Bootsy pulled out driver. I said, buddy, I don't think that's going to do it.
Nope.
Feels like that's going to be a problem.
I feel like it's going to be a problem. No
Yeah.
doubt.
But
Yeah.
that's fun. I think they should do more of that. Should show me something I haven't seen before.
By
Agreed.
the way, I don't care about the Wynn Las Vegas.
No, it's just,
Like
We've seen
that
it.
sounds like is it even a good course?
I have no idea. I bet it's well kept.
Yeah.
Sure, it's well kept, but
it's
it's
the Wynn.
down there. It's
But
on the property.
yeah.
It's out the back, isn't it? Of the
Right.
Wynn?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, so it's down there on the strip. It's
On
not
the
like it's
strip.
up in the mountains or.
Yeah, you're not getting elevation change. It's just that's where they did the first one with Tiger and Phil played there, right? Didn't they do that at the Wynn?
I think they played there with the one that Aaron Rodgers was in.
Was he there? I thought they just did one where it was just Tiger and Phil a long time ago, just the two of them 1v1 there.
Maybe.
I think they did
The
that.
other one one of the ones they did 1v1 was at someplace cool and remote.
Yeah.
Where it ended up getting so dark. I don't think that was the win.
Well, that happened 20-some years ago at Bighorn, Battle at Bighorn. They had to bring in the lights.
The
That
lights,
was him and Sergio. It was Sergio and Sevi against Tiger and Jack, I think, at the Battle of Bighorn. That happened. So, yeah, there's some of that stuff that's got a little bit of appeal. But you got to have – it's Medalist Club. Is that what it is?
Medalist.
Yeah, Medalist
Yes.
Club. That's it. All right. Off and running. Lots to get to. We will go around the league. You have that to look forward to. We'll take a look at our depth chart. Where do the offensive guys sit in? You'll hear from Isaiah McGuire, the defensive fit as well. You have all of those things to look forward to. We are off and running on a first Friday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. Jest last week with Randall Cobb.
We did say it in jest, but we also said it knowing that it was possible that it would come true. Listen, you got to at least Aaron Rodgers may be a lot of things. He may be strange, maybe the ayahuasca, all that, but he's loyal to a fault. Like, I don't see how Randall Cobb gets on the field for them, but that's what they did.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. So Randall Cobb goes to the Jets. So they'll have him, and then why am I blanking? The other receiver.
Alan Lazard.
That
they brought. Yep. Alan Lazard, Randall Cobb. They'll have, so their receiving core now is going to be Garrett Wilson, Alan Lazard, Corey Davis, McCole Hardman.
Oh, that's right.
And Randall Cobb.
Yeah, and they'll be running the Packers offense because Hackett is there.
That's right.
So they'll be running what Rodgers ran or
Rodgers
some variation.
wants to run.
Yeah, they'll run whatever variation of the offense Rodgers wants to win.
And then their D is still going to be most likely pretty darn good.
Pretty good. You saw him with Sauce Gardner at the game last night?
Oh, no.
Hey, Raj. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, he was. Sauce was pretty inconspicuous. There was an enormous diamond chain around his neck that said Sauce.
Well, that would be one way to maintain your anonymity out in public.
Yeah, just that was good.
Could think he just likes a wing sauce. He likes a marinara.
It actually had a little bottle of sauce on the thing.
He's got the sauce. Doesn't he have? He's got a wing sauce at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Is that true?
Yeah, they made a sauce with him, and then Bijan has a Dijon.
No, that part I knew. Yeah, I'd heard about the Bijan Dijon. I was unaware that Sauce had something with B-Dubs. Good job out of him.
Great job out of him. Smart.
Yeah, very good. Rodgers has been to 2 Knicks games
He's embracing
and a
it.
Rangers game. It'd be fun to be king of that city.
Totally. And
You've spent a lot of time there. Like there's a lot. That city's got a lot of juice, man.
I mean, for a while there was a good, I don't know, I'd 6+ year stretch where I spent every Saturday night in
that's right.
Manhattan
because you did the fantasy
and
Sunday morning.
The Sunday morning shows. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantasy and then Tops. Yeah, I had Saturday nights in Manhattan. It's an unbelievable city.
Yeah. Yeah, it is.
It's great.
I haven't been in a while.
I've done some fantastic things there.
Of course you have.
Things that maybe
Oh God, would you
I
end
was
up in
not
jail?
even 18.
Oh my gosh. A young Gibby running amok
Unsupervised.
in Manhattan?
Yep.
Wow.
Good night.
It was fantastic.
God, that's great.
Yep.
That is great.
It was a spectacular little road trip. It was all done under the premise of I don't want to say this without getting myself in trouble.
Yeah, be very careful, Gibby.
We're not. No. It was definitely. It was a supervised event, and we got to New York City.
And it became.
And they were like, "You just got to be on the bus every night to go to the musicals."
Wow.
And I was like,
wide open.
Oh, there was
Running amok.
Yeah, oh my
Running
God,
amok.
it was great.
Yeah.
I love New York City.
It's a good town, man.
It is.
It's good. It's a good Vegas-y in the sense in, out.
Oh yeah, I couldn't
72
do
hours max
I couldn't
in
do
Manhattan.
I couldn't do it. The kinetic energy of it, I couldn't do on a
I
permanent
love
basis.
Greenwich, down in that area. You know, the village.
Gibbe just thriving in Greenwich Village.
Amazing.
The village.
I feel like that
is
feels like more of an artsy hippie or
love it.
vibe.
I have
Loves it.
ended up in
Yeah.
some fantastic dive bars down there,
Yeah.
I bet.
and they're open till like 5 in the morning.
Yeah.
Not
there's
great
no-
when you
it's-
have a game the next day. But
I also
neither here nor
I
there.
also think it's nice that it feels like every corner you could get a good slice of pizza.
Yes.
Feels like there's one on every corner.
Yes.
There's always a good one.
Nice raise.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you could do that a lot. All right, so good stuff there. So he's embracing all of that. The Niners have their quarterback, Gibby Wrights with a straight face. Brandon Allen signs with them to add depth to that room. What do you think about this? Chris Fowler, replacing Steve Levy on ESPN's #2 Monday Night Football team, per our buddy Andrew Marchand. So that is.
I don't really have many thoughts on it.
I mean, they're going to get
so
more
that's-
games.
They are getting more games.
Yeah.
So he would do it with
Louis Riddick
and
Orlovsky.
Orlovsky.
Yeah.
What's? Oh,
Do you think
right.
that? How do you think
I
that
think Fowler
happens?
sucks.
I do too. I really think he's great as a studio host.
Yes.
He's awesome on game day.
Game
but
day.
it's
He's great on game day.
He doesn't want to do that. He didn't want to do that anymore, and that was his baby. So he just wants to do the games and do the tennis, and ESPN's acquiescing.
Tennis is fine,
Yeah.
but
He was in the mix when
What did they think about Levy? Was he too hockeyish or too?
I just think he's not. They must think. My hunch is the way that this happened with absolutely no inside information at all, just throwing things at the wall. My hunch is Fowler asked for it.
I said, hey, I'd like to do this.
I'd like to do some NFL.
well, I think that there was in reading all this, his contract was up. He was rumored to be one of the ESPN people that could be on their way out.
Fowler?
Yeah, because of what he was going to command from a money standpoint. Originally, the report was he wanted Joe Buck money,
I bet he did. I bet
and
he did.
ESPN was like, no,
You're not getting that. Yeah.
no. But they wanted to keep him, and he was prepared to potentially walk out the door. So I think they threw him this NFL bone as part of it.
So that's it. So it makes all the sense in the world that would be the case. I wonder what like where did the thing with him though is it would be a perfect time because he could go to Fox.
Yes.
Because Fox just got the Big Ten. And so he could, but then he's back to he's competing against what he is. I don't know. That would be a weird thing to go like a show that you kind of birthed in game day and then go up head to head against it. And the other thing with the way that Fox is set up, so they have Gus Johnson as their main play-by-play, and they could probably push him aside for Fowler. But would you host their college football pregame? Because that's where the value would be if you're Fox, would be to have him do that.
It's his bread and butter.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But
Or
again,
Steve
he
Levy,
doesn't want to do it.
It's not like he did anything wrong.
I think
Levy's
great.
I think Levy is still held in high regard. I think he's a good soldier, and that's what he is. Yeah.
They
were like, hey, he's probably going to go back to hockey, probably do some college football stuff again.
I talked to him on. I can't remember.
He's here.
Do we have him on the show?
Monday Night Football in San Francisco.
Yeah, I remember we had him on.
No, it wasn't San Fran.
I don't think it was. I want to say it was here. Wasn't it here?
Was it 2 years ago?
In the studio?
No,
he
wasn't
was
in the
doing the
studio.
game.
He was doing the game. He was
it was
like
a Monday night game here?
Monday night game here?
We
were at the
Pittsburgh?
Jets in like early 2020.
Could that have been
the
Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh was a Thursday night this year.
No. Levy wouldn't have been here. It would have been two or 3 years ago.
2 years ago, we played the
In
Steelers
San
on Monday night in Pittsburgh late in the season. That was the one where like
Big Ben's final
he got
game.
sacked like a billion times.
Yeah.
We played the 49ers and the Jets.
Jets was 20.
So was the 49ers.
Or no, Jets was
because we also had
Niners. We got to go out there. So it could have been 20.
It was 19. It was under Freddie.
We had Tessitore on too, though, because remember he had it before Levy.
Yeah.
Tessitore had it when they had that was a brutal booth, and Joe's great, but it just wasn't built for it.
It had to be the Pittsburgh.
So it had to be 21 though, which would our only Monday night game 21 was the end of the season in Pittsburgh.
It had to be Pittsburgh.
Had to be it. But you remember what he said? Like he was like, however long I get to do this, it's a blessing. I don't. You know.
That's the one that it was because remember we were technically still in it, and then
we got bounced on that Sunday
because the Chiefs blew the lead against the
Cincinnati.
Bengals on like 3rd and 30. They single covered Jamar Chase for some reason on a go route, and they completed that. And the Bengals ended up winning that game, and then we were out by that Monday.
We literally pulled into the team hotel as the Bengals won, and everybody just went right to the bar.
Trivia for all your
because we had 24 hours to kill.
Right.
Trivia for your friends when you go to the bar. Who was the last Brown to intercept Ben Roethlisberger? Anyone? A.J. Green.
A.J.
Was that in the playoff game?
On the Monday night game. That Monday night game.
Really?
Ben's last start.
I hated that game. I hated it. God, I hated it.
Did you hate it?
Yeah.
Just awful.
Yeah, but I think that so Levy's a good soldier. That's what he is. He still does he's like their number 1 or number 2 hockey guy.
Yep.
And he does a good job on college football when he bounces in and does that.
If you needed him in a pinch, he would do whatever you needed.
Yeah. Veteran can do everything. And this was Fowler trying to flex a little bit. So
yep.
Yeah, I don't think he's particularly good as a play-by-play.
No. Studio guy?
He's awesome at studio.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, coming up next. How will our offensive rookies fit into the depth chart? We will get into that. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet, coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Passionate fan bases of the NFL. Join the Browns season ticket member waitlist today. The best chance of securing tickets for all home games and future seasons. Don't miss out. Go to clevelandbrowns.com/tickets or call 440-891-5050 to reserve your spot today. When does rookie minicamp start?
A week from Friday.
Still
It is
The
May
12th.
12th through the 14th.
Yes.
So if the schedule comes out on the 11th, as Adam Schefter has reported, we'll have that Thursday night rookie minicamp Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
So we'll do. Oh yeah, they make that that's prime time now, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that
Oh,
funny
yes.
that a league that had 54 million people watch a draft that does a schedule release in prime time, and it still hasn't, and they haven't done like a lottery, the draft lottery. It's amazing to me. Like it's a gift.
You want
It's
to
just
die
such a
on
gift.
that hill.
It's the perfect year to do it. The two quarterbacks, Marvin Harrison, like what the Cardinals could end up picking first and second. It's the perfect year to do it. Put that sucker on at 8 o'clock at night on a Monday.
Oh, that'll do some numbers.
Super Bowl week.
Yeah, that'll
Throw
do some
that
numbers.
up. See what happens. All
Better
right.
than Super Bowl Media Day.
I feel like that's kind of done, isn't it? I didn't
Just
even
a
notice much.
circus now.
It always has been. It always was. I mean, I remember in 2001 going to the Super Bowl in New Orleans, and it was a circus. It's always been a circus.
Oh, yeah.
Just nonsense. But it feels like it's, I don't know. I think probably the reason it lacks some juice is there aren't as many people that are going to it as there used to be. Everybody used to go to Super Bowl Media Day. And now it's just it was kind of played out, I think, a little bit. I don't know if people are having those travel budgets anymore. All right, Gibbe wants to know, Z, how do the Browns' offensive rookies fit into the depth chart? So let's do it what would be like the three categories? So in the depth chart, potentially impact player, long-term development player, fighting like hell to make the team. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Are those is that
Yeah.
fair to have those be?
I think, yeah. So, we'll
let's go one by one.
Go ahead. All right, you throw me the name, and then I'll give you my take.
Mr. Tillman.
So Cedric Tillman, I think, is going to come into this as the number 5 receiver. I think he's immediately, upon being drafted, the number 5 receiver. You've got Amari, Donovan, Elijah Moore, your top 3. Goodwin, the veteran, I'd say is 4. Tillman, 5. Bell, 6. But that being said, if he comes out in camp and shows what he showed in 2021 and is out here dominating people and making plays, I do think he has an opportunity to force himself onto the field. That being said, I think that it is a longer shot for him than it is for, say, a Siaki Iko when we get to the defensive side of the ball in terms of that quick path to play. But Cedric Tillman, I would say, is going to make this team. He is going to be a top 5 receiver. How much he plays will be determined by just how dominant he is in this offseason leading up.
There's a great chance for upward mobility here for him.
I mean, it's hard for me to see him ever cracking the top 3 this year. Amari. DPJ has been great and does everything the coaches want and is ascending every year. He's been better. And I think Elijah Moore is going to be the breakout star of this room. So I don't see maybe where he gets in here, but I would certainly be inclined to think that he features prominently in what they are expecting to be doing in 2024.
All right, next, as we stay on the offensive side of the ball, DeJuan Jones, Big Thanos out of Ohio State.
He is likely to be the 4th tackle this year. Jed and Jack are your starters. James Hudson is probably your 3rd. DeJuan Jones probably your 4th, and they will just try to mold him and develop him. I do think he could play a role as, when we go heavy as kind of that extra offensive lineman because of just the sheer girth that he brings to the table. But if DeJuan Jones plays this year and plays at tackle, it means that we've suffered multiple injuries, I would guess, unless he comes in and obviously beats out James Hudson for that number 3 spot.
Or he plays to his talent.
Right. In which case, then you hit the lottery. Sure.
If that's the case, yeah.
But again, you're not counting on him to be a starter. None of these guys on the outside are you counting on to be a starter or to really play.
There's really only one guy who's
Tillman could.
Yeah, there's really only one guy that was drafted and we talked about this earlier in the week, who could elevate to that level.
Yep.
Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
Competing with Kellen Mond, I think, to be the 3rd quarterback and then being the long-term backup. I think it'll be Watson this year, Dobbs, and then DTR is the hope, my guess, that he will be able to, unseat Kellen Mond. who's been here but has been up and down, I think would be the best way to say it. Inconsistent thrower of the football. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, I think the hope is that he can become, after this season, 2024, 25, 26, while on a rookie deal, be your backup quarterback for Deshaun Watson, be economical for the franchise, but also be able to come in, run the offense, and make plays like he did at UCLA.
How beautiful is that uniform?
It's a great uniform. Oh, I thought you were pointing at that handsome guy next to that, but yeah.
No, it's a gorgeous smile out of you.
It is a beautiful uniform.
I mean, which is the better blue, UCLA or Carolina?
Allow me to get into real specificity, and you may say it's the same, but I don't believe it is. I prefer UCLA's blue on a football jersey. I prefer Carolina's blue on a basketball jersey.
God almighty, I love what you did there.
Thank you.
I think that's spectacular. Because the real issue here is that the UCLA blue is really only prominent in the home uniform. The away UCLA, the blue it's trim.
Just a trim. Yep.
There's not much there.
Yep.
I think that's the correct take. That is correct.
And I almost
think
that on a basketball one, it's almost a little too blue, whereas the Carolina blue on a basketball uniform is perfect. It's perfect on the white as the accent, and it's perfect on its own as the standalone. But that on a football jersey right there that you just showed me is gorgeous with the gold helmet.
Gold. Oh my gosh, with the LSU is UCLA LSU striping.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. Absolutely.
Agreed.
All right.
I like that. Whenever I can,
that's next level. You took it a very simple, but then also be able to correctly. You just nailed it. That's how you do it. It's a good job. Luke Whippler.
Certainly not a starter. Interesting. So we know our top 5. I think it's pretty safe to say DeJuan Jones and James Hudson make this roster. That's 7 offensive linemen. Do you keep 9? Do you keep 10? Does Nick Harris, Michael Dunn, Drew Forbes, guys that have been here before, do they stay? How many of them can stay? Feels like they would like Luke Whippler, but as a 6th-round pick, could you put him on the practice squad? If you like him, then it's too risky, right? You probably have a better shot of, at this point, unfortunately, putting Nick Harris through to your practice squad than you do Luke Whippler, because Nick Harris is now 3 years removed from the draft. He's 1 year coming off of a major knee injury. He has never really gotten the opportunity to start yet. He's in the last year of his rookie deal. So I think it's a lot of competition. I think Luke Whippler, the idea is that maybe in 2025 he is your succession plan for Ethan Posick. I'm sure they will cross-train him at guard and see if he can make an impact there. But competing to make the roster first and foremost, and then I think slotting as a succession planner. He's going to be in direct competition with Nick Harris, Dawson Deaton, Wes Martin, the veteran that they signed. But how many of those backups we keep, I think, will be very interesting. And my guess is you're going to keep 2 or 3 of Dunn, Harris, Forbes, Whippler, Martin, Deaton, and then Joe Haig, the veteran swing tackle, who's played really all over the offensive line. And I think Whippler, if they had their druthers now, has the inside track. It's the last year for Forbes. It's the last year for Harris. Dunn's on a 1-year deal. I think they like Dunn. That's why they brought him back.
Yep.
And he's played at a high level for us. So, Dunn and Whippler, I do think they would like Whippler to get that job. I think it's possible they keep Dunn, Harris, and Whippler, which I would be happy about because, I like Nick Harris, and I think that I feel so bad for the human for what he endured last year.
My God, look at that. What is that? What is that?
It's so my eyes aren't used to that level of brightness.
My God, it hurts my eyes.
Yep.
What is it? All of a sudden it's lighter out.
It's literally like everything stopped, the clouds parted, and
What is that? What is it? Jason, what is it? What is it in the sky?
Something. It's an orb.
My God, there's an orb producing light, it appears, and warmth.
Bright light. Well, I don't know about the warmth part.
It feels like even the foliage is taking to it.
It should.
It's really opening everything up.
Look at that.
Wow.
Just in time to grow some more pollen for us.
There you go.
Hey, we'll take all the pollen. You want the last 3 days or you want pollen?
No, all the pollen.
Give me
it
the
all.
pollen.
Yep, there you go.
Exactly. We've come up with things to deal with pollen.
Beamsy's got lacrosse tonight in Bay Village.
What do you think? Bay Village. Home of Dave Zastadil.
There you go. What do you think the odds of that turf being able to sustain 8-year-olds on?
Are they on the high school field?
No, they're at some park. There's almost no way, right?
Yeah. They have a beautiful football stadium with it's like state-of-the-art turf. It's
Well,
really,
that's what they – if you got turf, you got a shot. I was saying this this morning that I actually made a call out to Governor DeWine on this. I want every park in Ohio to have a football field of turf.
So it's interesting. Back in the old hometown of Lakewood,
Yep.
They were one of the first stadiums in the state of Ohio to have when it was AstroTurf.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I played. We had AstroTurf my 4 years in high school.
Yeah.
91, we were playing on. We had a turf baseball field and a turf football field.
Yeah.
Now they have pivoted. They're kind of. I feel like they're at the forefront of this. They're now putting in turf in the last 4 years. They put in a turf football field for middle school and elementary, and a turf, like they've upgraded for like the younger and all the youth sports.
Yeah.
It's just understanding where
You
we
can't,
live.
You can't. You have no chance.
That's why everything that the Browns have put in, all the fields they've put in, have all been
Turf.
So
They have to be.
multi-purpose year-round.
Year-round. You can use them.
You can use them.
Exactly. For all the things.
You can't use this.
No, you can't even walk from here to there.
No. You have to.
Murph
there
almost
was
bid it the other day.
Jeez, hate to see it. Anytime that there's a chance for open space, man, throw the turf in. You got to get that done. If you can make it done, DeWine, come on, man. I need turf in
I
place.
don't understand why we haven't figured out how to, and I know that the scale of this would be obviously epic, and I realize why we haven't figured it out, even though I'm proposing it.
Yeah.
But, like, if somebody could create an all-season golf course where they have just kind of a loose dome over an entire golf course, would be great.
I wonder if there is a such thing as like,
Could you do it for like an executive course?
You could do it. You could do like a 9-hole, and you could probably do it. You'd have to do it. To me, it feels like something like somebody in Minneapolis would do.
If I had unlimited funds,
Like a greenhouse?
I'd buy a huge lot out here, and I'd make a 3-hole course with 3 different sets of tees for each hole, so 1 par 5, 1 par 4, 1 par 3. And then have it under sometime, and then I can play all year. Come on over. We'll play.
How big would it have to be?
And the bubble has to.
We're talking unlimited funds. Doesn't matter.
The bubble has to be able to hold if we get a foot of snow
It's gonna
or
have to,
2 feet
The
of snow.
infrastructure's got to be.
It's going to be heated. It's got to have sloping.
I've seen golf domes
could
in
you
this
do it in
city
the IX
collapse
Center?
because of snowfall.
Could you do it in the IX Center? 3 holes.
I think you'd hit it too high. I
I
don't think
was
it's high
gonna
enough.
say.
I don't think it's tall enough.
Yeah, maybe not.
Especially you're throwing a lob wedge in there, baby. Come on.
Yeah, probably not.
I can't even house a full Ferris wheel.
No, that's true. Yeah, I think. Yeah, even a full turf golf course. Forget the roof on it.
So you could play in those
could
days
play
in
on the
February,
days when it's
like in
rainy and
February
cold.
this year.
Yeah, but it was 50.
Yeah,
So you go play and whack it around.
I like it.
Yeah. You know what they're doing? I was out at Menor on Sunday. They're putting in a all artificial surface baseball. It's the only chance you have. If you want to play spring sports in this state, it's the only chance you have.
Lakewood never got canceled.
Yeah.
They still don't
Yeah, you
because
can't.
they have turf. They have their baseball fields turf.
Yeah. You could play. You
Yeah.
just have to have turf. You have to have artificial. It's the only way to
Yeah.
do it in this climate.
No, I feel for the again. You want to know why baseball?
You have no chance in this state to
I was
play
gonna say.
professional baseball. It's next to none.
Yeah, you want to know why kids are like, I'll go play lacrosse because I can at least go play my sport in the spring.
Yeah, you can play lacrosse in the rain.
Yeah,
You can. It's not great, but you can do it.
yeah.
Yeah. You can't. Baseball's got no chance. None at all. Turf.
No.
Turf it up, DeWine. Let's go. All right, coming up next,
Up to wine.
second hour of the program, we have a conversation with Isaiah McGuire. We'll go over the Browns' defensive depth chart, where the rookies fit in on that. You have that to look forward to, which is nice. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, welcome back into Cleveland Browns Daily here on a First Friday edition of the program. The sun is out. That puts you in a good mood. So too should this. Here is Z and Gerard with our fourth-round pick, defensive end, Isaiah McGuire.
Isaiah, congratulations. Nathan Zagura with you. You'll be talking with Gerard.
You guys are done.
Former Super Bowl champion, 3 times over with New England. And just want to say congratulations and welcome to the Cleveland Browns.
Glory to God. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Isaiah, talk to us a little bit about kind of your journey here. First of all, did you know that the Browns were interested in you? And then what went through your mind? What were the emotions when you got the call?
Man, I can definitely say it's been much more longer way than I expected. But still, thank God, that I'm a part of the Cleveland Browns organization. And I knew they were interested in me. I just didn't know how it was going to shake out. But thank God that they took me.
And Isaiah, you just mentioned that the process was longer than you anticipated. Having been in your shoes, I can only imagine what it's like waiting to see where you're going to change your locale and your residence and all that and what that represents. But with that in mind, my man, how excited are you to know that, hey, I have an opportunity to be in the National Football League and a chance to live out my dream?
Man, like I said, it's just really a blessing. And, I'm just really excited to get to work. Put the best foot forward, make a whole bunch of plays for this defense and contribute to a championship winning team, honestly.
Your freshman year, you were there with Jordan Elliott, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Have you talked with Jordan since coming here and kind of just gotten a little bit of the lay of the land from him to get 2 Missouri Tigers together?
I ain't got a chance to talk with him yet, but I'm definitely excited to chop it up with him. That's someone I looked up to during my freshman year and seeing how he handled the process and whatnot. So it's definitely great to, see a familiar face for sure.
27 tackles for loss, 13.5 sacks, 2 forced fumbles the last 2 years, led the team in sacks both of those seasons, second team All-SEC last year. What would you say are the strengths of your game, and are there any players that you look up to or try to model your game after?
For sure. Honestly, he plays for the Cleveland Browns right now. Myles Garrett being one of them.
Yeah.
Another one being Matthew Judon, and Cameron Jordan's another one of those all-time great defensive ends. So, like I said, definitely power and just, the mindset of will to dominate. I want to be the best, truthfully. And like I said, put my best foot forward, going and work each and every day to accomplish those things.
Well, when you put on the tape, especially going against Broderick Jones, who went very early in this draft out of Georgia, you had, I think, a very impressive performance in that one. How much confidence does that give you that, you've done it against one of the guys that this league evaluated to go very, very early in this draft? And, oh, by the way, somebody you're going to see in Pittsburgh now a couple times a year.
Like I said, definitely cool, man. Like I said, that's the beauty of the SEC, honestly. When you're going against a draft prospect, you're most likely going to play them again at the next level, the NFL. So, like I said, it's going to be real fun. Like I said, I'm just really excited to get to work.
Now, Isaiah, the airport here in Cleveland is called Cleveland Hopkins Airport. Have you ever touched down in Cleveland Hopkins Airport, and have you been to this area or region before?
I've never even been to the state of Ohio, so it's definitely going to be an exciting feeling for sure. Change of scenery for sure.
It certainly will be. Well, I know that it does occasionally snow in Missouri, so you can deal with that, but I'll be the first to forewarn you that definitely get yourself a winter coat because you'll need one at some point. But with that in mind, though, man, with that thought that, hey, I'm going to be in an environment where there's truly 4 seasons, have you started preparing yourself? And I know it's quick. You just got drafted, but have those thoughts run through your mind of how am I going to get myself prepared mentally to deal with the different seasons that will take place here?
Honestly, I'm from Oklahoma. Yeah, I doubt too many people know, the state of Oklahoma, but we get all types of weather, everything except a hurricane. So I definitely know what it feels like to have a really hot summer, a really cold winter, and fall and spring. So like I said, just definitely excited, man, and being in Missouri, getting used to being able to adapt to any situation. And like I said, same thing, different area. So I'm definitely excited.
Well, we're excited to have you, Isaiah, and you're 6'4", 270. Your athletic testing was kind of off the charts there in terms of that. Is that something that you pride yourself on, kind of the athletic gifts? And when did you know? Like, at what point in your life you're like, you know what, I think I have a chance to do something pretty special here with these gifts?
Honestly, it was just more so of high school transition to college and really just developing those things. It was more so of a late bloomer in high school. Missouri is my only Power 5 offer coming out of high school.
Yep.
And really take advantage of that, through development and continuous hard work and dedication, commitment to the task and the mission that I had in my mind and, what God put on my heart. So, like I said, that's to take advantage of that. You know, people doubt my athleticism. I guess people didn't think I was that athletic, but it's fine. It's fine. Right situation right now.
You know what? You get to come in and you get to show everybody, right? That's the beautiful thing. Now you're going to play in the National Football League against the very best of the best, and you have an opportunity to show everybody exactly who you are. I do have to ask, though, because I always think this is a fascinating thing. You were an unbelievable shot putter in high school. How does that power, that explosion, how does that translate to, now the power? I'd imagine your punch has to be pretty strong. You're used to throwing a shot put. What does it say here? Like almost 50 feet, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's wild, man.
Like I said, for sure. Like I said, got to give credit to Union High School's track and field staff. Coach Washington and his commitment. Teaching us throwers. Each and every day in practice. Like I said, I feel like that definitely developed some pop, and some torque. Some pop and some torque. When it comes to being an athlete, like I said, just taking those different type of things that I've learned, and it translating towards the field, so it's really good.
And Isaiah, I hear the humility, I hear the gratitude in your voice for the opportunity to be drafted by the Cleveland Browns and have an opportunity to carry out a dream of being an NFL player. But I want to give you this moving forward. That sense of people doubting you and questioning you, that you felt being only offered one Power 5 opportunity, take that same mentality, dog, and what you learned from your position and what you did in Missouri, bring it to the pros. Come with that attitude. Come with that.
30 seconds here, guys. 30.
Whoever steps up, I'm giving them the business, and that's how you make an impact for yourself, man. So just stay on that mindset, because you went through what you went through for a reason, and it's a great opportunity for you here to take advantage of it.
For sure. The 100 men there. I promise you that.
Well, we can't wait to see you get there. Enjoy this. Enjoy this with your family, your dream coming true, and it's really just the start of your journey. So, Isaiah, very excited to have you as a member of the Cleveland Browns and to see what you can do when you get up here to Berea and get out on that field. So congratulations.
Come back in here.
Thank you all. Thank you all.
All right, good stuff from Z and Gerard and Isaiah. And speaking of Isaiah, how will he fit in this defensive room, especially up front? We will do that exercise with him and the rest of the defensive rookies who are coming into the program that is coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Renew your home for the last time with my friends at Renew Home Exteriors, siding and roofing products. Bo here for the Renew Home Exteriors team. Don't spend all day with high-pressure sales, guys. The team at Renew won't waste your day with hours of negotiating. Instead, Renew offers an upfront, fair price. They make your project easy. This month, take advantage of pre-pandemic pricing plus no interest or payments for 24 months. Renew Home Exteriors, superior products, superior service. Visit RenewEstimate.com for more. I've seen two. We'll get to the depth chart thing in a second. I've got two 30 for 30s that were announced in the last 24 hours.
I literally had it pulled up to talk to you about it.
So, number one, Minister of Defense.
We can do this right now and just move the segment back.
Yep, Minister of Defense says features never before aired 2004 interview footage. That is going to be awesome.
Was
he Stefanski's favorite player, Reggie White?
Oh, he was. Was he the first free agent?
I want to say the first free agent was like Freeman McNeil or something like that, but he was maybe the first high profile
that ended up switching teams. Like that was, and then it was kind of crazy. He picked the Packers,
and we were in play for him.
Were we really? I mean, that would make
Stand by.
sense.
We entertained him. I know, like his people came here.
And he ended up signing Holmgren would have been in Green Bay at that time.
I'm almost positive of this.
The first glimpse of free agency in 1992, Eagles tight end Keith Jackson was awarded by District Court Judge David Doty, Patriots defense end Garen Veras, Browns wide receiver Webster Slaughter, and Lions running back DJ Dozer a temporary restraining order allowing them to become unrestricted free agents for 5 days until an evidentiary hearing could be heard. Then it really started in 1993. It says Frank Rothman said removing Plan B would be the destruction of the National Football League. That day came in 1993. White versus NFL led to the White settlement, which feels like it could be about Reggie White, right?
Yeah.
Which incorporated the new CBA, and then that was it. So, 93.
1993. This is from Peter King. This was the Browns. This was his trip. Reggie White was here, courted for like 5 days he was here.
Wow.
Day 4 of free agency, Browns owner Art Modell dispatched his private jet to Knoxville, Tennessee to whisk Reggie White and his wife Sarah to Cleveland. From the airport, a stretched limousine took the Whites to their $800 a night suite, 5 rooms, 2 marble baths atop the Ritz-Carlton.
Oh, boy.
Where they were greeted by a bouquet of white, red, pink, and yellow roses, Sarah's favorites.
Amazing.
No sooner had the Whites
stone
gotten
unturned.
settled than Jim Brown called from L.A. to extol the virtues of the Cleveland organization. On Friday, White toured the Browns' new $12.3 million practice facility and office complex.
Is that this one?
I'm assuming.
It's got to be, right?
It had to have been. A veritable Taj Mahal compared with the Eagles' bunker beneath Veterans Stadium. Nice folks, these Browns, thought White, perhaps because Modell had decreed a 2-day moratorium on cursing in the building in deference to White, an ordained Baptist minister.
Right.
Fans were sending letters and met him alongside the road, gathered across the street. On Saturday, White was awakened by a phone call from Cleveland Mayor Mike White. The Browns presented Sarah White with a $900 leather coat.
Good Lord, what a wooing.
Can you do that?
I don't know. In a 45-minute meeting late that morning, Reggie White told Modell that wherever he signed, he wanted to work with the poor, and he wanted to establish a ministry in his new home. Would Modell object? Object, Modell blustered. Are you kidding? I'll help you build it. Then Modell put the Whites back on his plane, which set off for Dallas, where White was scheduled to deliver a sermon on Sunday at the First Baptist Church. Welcome to the American way, NFL style.
Wow. That's incredible.
He was here for 3 days.
That's unbelievable. A 3-day recruiting visit.
Wow.
Compensated, paid for.
Great memory by Gibbe.
That's unbelievable.
Well, it was one of the things that led to the dominoes falling and the Browns ultimately moving. Like Modell thought getting Reggie White, by the way, the Browns were a playoff team.
Yeah.
And had all the pieces.
Would that have
parts,
been Carson or would that have been Belichick?
Bill.
Bill was already here.
It was Bill.
Okay.
Testaverde was the quarterback.
Wow.
the thought, I mean, they won the first round playoff game. They beat the Patriots, and then they lost to the Squealers.
Wow.
And he thought if he got Reggie White,
That's
like
the game
it could
changer.
turn, it would get the money that he needed.
Man, he was always just hanging both ends, burning the candle at both ends.
Yeah.
Odell was at that time. That's unbelievable. Reggie White, it's a stunning. I mean, like you just pull up like the wiki. It's crazy. 3-time Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah.
8-time First Team All-Pro. 5-time Second Team All-Pro. So he's First or Second Team All-Pro 13 times. 13-time Pro Bowler. Sack leader twice. All-Decade Team for the 80s, the 90s, the 75th Anniversary Team, the 100th Anniversary Team. Eagles and Packers Hall of Famer. He was First Team USFL before all of that. Unanimous All-American at Tennessee. His numbers retired at Tennessee. Man, it's unbelievable. There's a lot there. Man, that would be fun. So that's what I think to me makes it interesting. The 30 for 30 is his free agency because he was the first big-name free agent. Keith Jackson was an Eagles player too, and he was a nice player as a tight end. But Reggie was the first big
Megastar.
one.
Wilbur Marshall also was in that.
I am
role.
sending you
Free
this
agency
link.
class.
The story is unbelievable. There were 10 teams in the NFL that were legitimately in.
Trying.
Yeah.
I mean, just to put it in perspective so people understand what was going on at that time. So he comes in the league as a rookie in 1985. 13 sacks, second in the Defensive Rookie of the Year voting. I wonder who was the Rookie of the Year in 85.
In 85? Might have been the fridge.
86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91. So for the next 6 seasons, he is first team All-Pro consensus. What I'm about to tell you guys is going to really be stupefying, I think. So he goes 13 sacks as a rookie, then 18 first team All-Pro, leads the league with 21 and 87 first team All-Pro, leads the league with 18, again first team All-Pro, 11, 14, 15, 14, 13. So going into the 93 season, he's begun his career with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 straight double-digit sack seasons. 11 was the low. 13 was the second low. He had 2 seasons with 14, 1 with 15, 2 with 18, and 1 with 21. And as I said, he is a first-team All-Pro in 6 of the 7 seasons prior to his free agency. He is second-team All-Pro with 14 sacks in 92. Free agent, goes to Green Bay. He has 13 sacks for them there, then only 8 in 94. Bounces back in 95 at the age of 34 with 12 sacks in his first-team All-Pro. Here's the one that's crazy to me, though. At the age of 37, in his final season in Green Bay, he wins Defensive Player of the Year, has 16 sacks, and his first-team All-Pro. And that is at the age, again, of 37 years old. That's incredible.
That he was still grinding at 37 and putting up that type of year.
Some of these
16 sacks. He was the Defensive Player of the Year at 26 and at 37. How many people have been Defensive Players of the Year with a decade in between winning them? I don't think ever, other than Reggie White, would be my guess.
No.
Yeah, one of the pitches, basically the big players in it were Washington, Detroit, Phoenix, the Jets, the Browns. Jerry Glanville called and said Deion Sanders said if I sign with Atlanta, he'll buy me a church.
It's funny, like the teams that you're mentioning. So Washington would have been at the height of their power. That would have been like the Mark Rippon.
Yep.
They would have won a Super Bowl around then. You said Jets, us, Lions.
So it was
obviously went to Green
Phoenix.
Bay. Phoenix, who had nothing going on.
No. The thing that he was quoted, the thing that worried me a little bit is that with teams like Cleveland, Detroit, Phoenix, Atlanta, and the Jets, they might figure our savior has arrived. In Washington, I think there'd be less pressure. I don't mind pressure, but I don't want anybody to think I'm the only guy out there.
Washington at that time, that would have probably been a Dexter Manley, Charles Mann defense, I would think.
Pretty
would have still
good.
been in the mix.
Yeah.
Wilbur Marshall would have been there because he left from the Bears to go to the Redskins.
Yep.
At that time.
Man.
Joe Gibbs still would have been in the mix.
He had just retired.
Oh, Gibbs had just
He
retired.
literally had retired a week before free agency started.
Oh, well, then there you go. So he would have missed that.
Otherwise, he would have.
Could have been there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's Jack Kent Cooke ownership. That's iconic Washington Redskins.
And he went to Dallas, too, and visited.
Both Eagles, he must have hated Philly.
I was going to say, how would it –
So in this
Or
article,
was Philly
I would
just run
encourage
differently
you,
then?
I would encourage you guys to read
I
it.
will, yeah.
It's,
well, I want to watch this 30 for 30 now, baby.
I'm guessing that Philadelphia was not like the Jeffrey Lurie Eagles.
So White
they
said,
weren't-
I've never felt like Eagle owner Norman Brahman has done everything it takes to put a championship team on the field.
Yeah.
So in 92, which was his last season, so the season that he wants out after, head coach Richie Kotite of the Eagles leads them to an 11-5 season. They had Randall Cunningham was the starter. Jim McMahon was the backup. They went 10-5 with Cunningham. McMahon started one game. They won it. They had Herschel Walker was the running back. He ran for 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns. They also had Keith Byers, who had caught 56 balls. They had Fred Barnett was the receiver 1. They didn't really have another stud receiver. But, I mean –
well, they had Chris Carter before they let him walk for nothing.
Yes. Defensively, they had Reggie White and Clyde Simmons.
Oh, yeah.
Clyde Simmons, who was our
He was here.
defensive line coach for a while. Clyde Simmons in 1992 had 19 sacks.
Oh, dude, their D-line with Jerome Brown, Reggie White, and Clyde Simmons, those late 80s, early 90s Eagles D-lines.
They had Eric Allen
oh, yeah, he was
at
legit.
corner. That a guy, Andy Harmon, on the D-line also had 7 sacks that year. I mean, it doesn't feel like this was a terrible team.
No, it wasn't. But the problem was it's kind of like where we are in the AFC now. Like, that's peak Montana, Aikman. Like, the Redskins had just won the Super Bowl. The Giants with Phil Simms and that
Well, this is
defense
92, so this is
Parcells,
Cowboys.
So it's Parcells. So that's into Cowboys.
Why didn't he go to the Cowboys?
That's Cowboys-Niners bidding war starts then because the Cowboys win it.
Especially if he didn't want to be like the savior.
Cowboys win it in 92 and 93.
So he could have joined
Niners
them.
won it in 94, and then the Cowboys won it in 95.
He could have joined those Cowboys
He could have
teams.
joined those Cowboys teams and won them. But then they wins it in 96 with Green Bay. They win it.
Wow.
It is a crazy story.
That part of it will make it, in addition to his greatness, but that part of it makes it interesting. That's the thing with the 30 for 30s that you have to find. It's not, people like they're doing a Bill Walton one, which is a 4-parter. Like, is there 4 parts to Bill Walton? I mean, that's a lot going on.
That's a
4
lot.
parts.
I don't think people today realize, like, they just think he's the goofy, stoned announcer. What a dominant college basketball player
he was the best
was.
college basketball player of all time. I mean, it's him and Lou Alcindor. That's 1 and 2. And it's going to be fun because he'll tell good stories. And he wins the championship with the Portland Trail Blazers in, I want to say, 78 or 77. No, the Blazers in 77, Sonics in 78. And then is done. Like, goes to the San Diego Clippers at the time.
Yep.
Can't walk. Catastrophic feat. And then comes back with the Celtics in 86. And is the 6th man of the year and was a stud.
Yeah.
As like a bench player for the Celtics on one of the greatest teams of all time, the 86 Celtics. The Celtics had both at one point on their last legs, Bill Walton and Pete Maravich. Both played for the Celtics late in their careers. But that one's coming too. But those are the things that you got to do with the 30 for 30 is you've got to find something that people have a point of reference to, but also a whole other side that you don't know. And Walton will have that with the activism. He'll have with the lifestyle choices and all of that. And Reggie White will have that other part because he has this free agents tour.
Yep.
Something that I don't even know that we've had since.
Doesn't sound like
Manning
that.
did it pretty clandestine.
Yeah, all of a sudden I remember I was working out in a gym and I saw Peyton Manning's Denver Broncos.
Right.
It's like, oh.
Yeah, but right. I mean, remember he met with Harbaugh and he met with Tennessee and he met with Denver. Harbaugh when he was at the 49ers. There's a hell of a what if. Right?
I mean, I think going to Denver worked out for him, but yeah, it'd been nice.
For sure, but I just wonder, like, what that, like if he had played there with Harbaugh, like, because at that point they're making the transition. Would Kaepernick still have been there?
Alex Smith would have been there. What year was it that he went?
Like 12? 13 maybe?
I thought
No,
it was
14. That's the luck draft. Is that the luck draft? 14. Johnny was in the. That was the Johnny draft,
No,
right?
Andrew Luck is not 14. He's before 14.
So he's got to be like 12.
Yeah. So it would have been 2000, the 2012 season as he goes to Denver.
Yeah.
He was the first pick in the 2012 draft. Yep. So.
Yeah, the 2012. That's what it would have been.
Yeah. So the 49ers go to the Super Bowl and lose to the Ravens. It has to be
That's right around there.
around that year.
12 or 13, yeah.
So that was 2012. They lose the Super Bowl. That's Kaepernick. So they're full on in Kaepernick.
But they stumble into Kaepernick that year. He didn't start the year.
Correct.
It started out Alex Smith.
Correct.
So if they would have had Manning, Kaepernick doesn't happen.
Does not happen.
Smith is probably traded or Kaepernick's traded. Manning going to play for 4 years at a ridiculously high level.
So they would have had Peyton Manning would have been the quarterback. They had Frank Gore, who was as good as ever back then. Ran for 1,214 yards, 8 touchdowns that year. Pass catchers, you had Orlando Moss. You had Michael Crabtree was the leading receiver. They also had Mario Manningham. Vernon Davis was the tight end. Delaney Walker was the second tight end.
Yeah, that would have been.
And then they had an excellent defense that had Navarro Bowman was a first-team All-Pro. Willis was a first-team All-Pro. Dante Whitner was a Pro Bowler. Alden Smith had 19.5 sacks, was a first-team All-Pro. Deshaun Goldson, the free safety, was a first-team All-Pro. And Justin Smith was a Pro Bowler. So they had 6 Pro Bowlers and 4 first-team All-Pros on that defense in addition to that offense. They also had Ahmad Brooks on that team who had 6.5 sacks. I mean, that was a good football team.
Yeah, they would have been set up. But he didn't want to do it in the NFC because he didn't want to compete with Eli.
Well,
that was the whole operation.
There you go.
So there you go. But there's some fascinating ones out there. I'll be into that. I like the.
Oh man, those are both.
Yeah, those are good.
Really,
like
good.
you said, you got to find the one angle that some people know about, but the bulk of people or the majority of people don't know.
There's got to be there. You have to be aware of the subject, ideally, and then there has to be a flip to it.
Yep.
Now, there's been some, like 2 Escobars I had vague point of reference, and that's maybe one of the best ones ever. The Once Brothers one is unbelievable with Stojakovic and Kukoc and all those guys, and Vlade. And
it was Vlade and Drazen.
And Drazen.
That one's intense.
That one's unbelievably
good.
good. And you had some pizza reference on that.
I got my boy Reeves telling us, no way is Walton the second best all time in hoops. No way. Leitner was better. Shaq was better.
Stop it. Stop it. Just stop it. Stop it. Stop
Reeves,
it.
Jimmy, come on.
Sad,
look it up.
Sad.
Bill Walton?
Sad.
Yeah.
It's all out there.
It's all out there.
It's all out there. You can find it. That's laughable, man. Laughable.
That's laughable.
All right. Coming up next, we'll take a look at where the defensive rookies fit into the depth chart. You have that to look forward to, which is very, very nice. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily, brought to you by Ballybet. Coming soon to Ohio on 850 ESPN Cleveland. All right, welcome back into Cleveland Browns Daily. For a team of injury lawyers dedicated to every client every day, call 1-800-ELK-OHIO. Elk & Oak's proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. So Walton's the second best college player of all time. The best is Lou Alcindor. He is a 3-time National College Player of the Year. He is a 3-time consensus first-team All-American. He is a 3-time NCAA champion. He is a 3-time NCAA Final Four most outstanding player. You want to know why he's not 4? Because he couldn't play as a freshman. Freshmen were not eligible. In fact, his freshman year at UCLA, listen to this. In November 27th of 1965, Alcindor made his first public performance in UCLA's annual varsity freshman exhibition game. It was attended by 12,000 fans. The 65-66 varsity team was the 2-time defending national champions and the top-ranked team in the polls. The freshman team won 75-60 behind Alcindor's 31-21.
Jeez.
It was the first time that a freshman team had beaten the UCLA varsity team ever. The freshman team 21-0 that year. At that time, he couldn't play.
I mean, Alcindor.
So that's it. That's end of discussion.
26 and 16. He's number 1.
Walton's 2.
Definite 2.
Walton's 2. He just doesn't have the 3 champions, but Walton's got the 3-time consensus.
2. Yep,
He's
3.
got the 3 college player of the years.
Yep.
He just doesn't have the 3rd national championship, which separates Alcindor. It's
I mean,
crazy.
they had to ban dunking.
For Kareem, yeah.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it. Wouldn't let him dunk.
Couldn't dunk anymore.
Too
easy.
Too easy, drill sergeant. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that is wild.
Yeah. All right, let's take a look at our rookie class on the defensive side and how they could fit in on this defense. So we had in the depth chart. No. First one was chance to start, play in the depth chart, and the third one was fighting to make the team. And we will start with one that is, of all of these guys, we talked about this, the most likely for that top spot of all of the rookie class, and that is Siaki Ika, the defensive tackle out of Baylor.
Yeah, the big 350-pounder. He will likely slot right in there in obvious run situations immediately next to Dalvin Tomlinson, and even could play in some pass situations, so I think we'll go with more of a cheetah package with 3 defensive ends out there. But, yeah, he is going to make this roster, lock. He is going to play in a rotation. I think we're going to rotate our defensive line a lot, keep these guys fresh, much like they did in Philly. And I think he will play a big role as a rookie. What happens the rest of that room, I think you can write Dalvin Tomlinson and Siaki Ika in and Sharpie. The rest of the room, I think, is wide open. Perion Winfrey wants to be here and does what he needs to do to be here. He will be your 3rd defensive tackle. Jordan Elliott, Jim Schwartz likes Jordan Elliott. Jordan Elliott's made a good impression on him in the early going of camp. Jordan Elliott has a chance to be here last year of his rookie deal. And then, the wild cards, probably Maurice Hurst or Tristan Hill, who just joined our organization. Hill, a former 2nd-round pick of the Cowboys. Hurst, I think it was a 5th-round pick for the Raiders, but should have gone much earlier. There was circumstance around that. I don't know if it was injury or off-field, something around that. Yeah. But whenever he's played, he's been productive. He just hasn't played in 2 years due to injury. I think Tommy Togiai feels very much like, unfortunately, the odd man out. Ben Still is here. Roderick Perry, Michael Dwumfor. They're just competing, I think, to be on the practice squad. But I think Siaki Ika absolutely locked to make the roster and will play, I think, a pretty big role immediately.
This goes back to the conversation we were having earlier, and Isaiah McGuire, who's next, fits into this as well. It does feel like, for me at least, I'd like one more vet in one of these 2 rooms.
Fine.
Isaiah McGuire, the defensive end out of Missouri, is up next.
Yep. Isaiah McGuire, 6'4", 275. Again, he's going to make this team. I feel very confident in that. The question is, does he push Alex Wright, or do all 4 of these guys play a lot? And is there a rotation with Garrett and Okoronkwo, Alex Wright, McGuire? The question for McGuire is, does he leap right in pass rushing situations? Wright is rookie, who's very good against the run. They need more out of him against the pass, which he did very well in college at Alabama, Birmingham. So that's the opportunity for him. And then I think behind that, you've got Isaiah Thomas battling an undrafted free agent that's reportedly signed with the Browns, Lonnie Phelps, who, again, reportedly received a big guarantee from the Browns. That's going to be the question there on kind of the 5th defensive end. But McGuire absolutely in the rotation. And if everything we're starting to hear, and I'm sure we'll see it as it goes forward, that there's going to be a lot of rotation, that everybody is going to play, that we might even have 9 defensive linemen up on game days this year because of that, then Isaiah McGuire is going to get an opportunity as a rookie. I think for him, the ceiling will be dictated on whether or not he gets to be that third defensive end. Who is the third defensive end in the sub packages in the pass rushing situations?
What are you hearing on Alex Wright in year 2?
Not much yet, and I think he's a guy. I think it's a lot harder on the lines without pads being on to really know anything. I think with skill position players, you can see the way they move, the way they come in and out of their breaks, the way that they're catching the ball if it's a receiver. But I don't know. I think that you hope. I will say this: the expectation for him coming out of Alabama, Birmingham, given the lack of sophistication that he saw in opposing offenses in his collegiate career, that getting used to NFL concepts they thought was going to be a year-long learning process for him. And so he's got that under his belt. So you want to see, obviously, major improvement this year. The question is, will we? Good Clay, big guy. We'll see. You'd like him to. I mean, he's only his second year, and again, he came out of Alabama, Birmingham. So
I'm pretty sure he's only like 22.
Very young, yes.
Yeah, so there's some room to grow there, but you need, I think the thing that for us to be where we want to be on the defensive side, you need one of these guys at tackle and end to be a dude, to go. Like you don't have to be a Pro Bowl or nothing like that, but just you got to be a solid pro and get going. You need one of them at tackle, and you need one of them at end to step up and kind of establish that, because otherwise it's hard to see it all coming together without that. Cameron Mitchell, cornerback out of Northwestern.
So this is the first one that I would say of our draft picks. Initially, you got to say he's fighting to make the roster, right? Mm-hmm. You've got, I think, M.J. Emerson, Greg Newsome, Denzel Ward, and A.J. Green are locks. I think he has an opportunity to be that fifth corner. He will battle with Thomas Graham. Thomas Graham has played some nickel for us in the past. He was in our program the entire year last year on the practice squad and the active roster, because the sixth corner is going to be Mike Ford. Now, maybe Mike Ford shocks everybody and ends up being the fifth corner, but he was brought here for special teams by Bubba Ventrone, and I think that he makes the team. So I think you're looking at Graham and Cam Mitchell battling to be that, the final roster spot at that position.
So there you have it.
And there it is. Yeah, and we'll get some more names. You mentioned Ronnie Hickman's name. It's an undrafted guy linked to the Browns at this point.
When does that become official?
When we put it out there. My guess is we won't even get that as official until
rookie minicamp.
Because we've had a lot of those guys reported, and
sure.
Hickman's a guy, obviously, and you think that there's a potential there with the special teams and the versatility. So we won't get that official till what? What'd you say that was next week?
Next week. Yeah, probably midweek next week, because that's when everybody starts to arrive, and it's getting everybody their playbooks and getting up to speed on the facility and where you need to be and when you need to be here.
Can you imagine just flipping back over, and I saw that the Alcindor stats again. You imagine the idea that he could not play as a 19-year-old. His only option was to go to play for the Harlem Globetrotters. Like, if he wanted to make money, that was the option, was to go play for the Globetrotters.
That's wild.
And then he played 4 seasons at UCLA, one of which he did not compete in normal basketball. And to think where you are now with that sport and to where it was.
It's wild.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's absolutely crazy to think that was the case. Totally different world.
But that's how good, and all they kept doing was just reloading at UCLA.
They didn't lose 80. They lost it against Notre Dame. They won 88 in a row.
Correct.
Yeah, in that stretch.
It's a pretty good run.
That's solid.
What's the closest, and what at the peak of?
The longest one of my lifetime was UNLV. UNLV won. They won the national championship in '90.
Yep, and then went 33-0.
33-0 or whatever until they lost to Duke in the national semifinal.
But
they were probably a 40-some game win streak.
Wasn't there in women's college basketball? Didn't Tennessee have a?
Oh my God, Tennessee and Connecticut. Connecticut
hundreds.
could have had 100 games. I'm guessing.
Right. Yeah.
Probably at some point. The women's games changed a lot to where there's more parity in it, but there's a while in the 90s where it was
just dominance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm looking to see how many games they played in a season during that 88-game winning streak. I mean, So we think 88 games. Like 88 games now would be 2.5 seasons.
Oh yeah.
I can tell you.
UCLA won 88 in a row. San Francisco was 60 in a row, so that's obviously Russell.
It's
So
USF. Bill
UCLA
Russell.
had
Yep.
47 in a row.
In the 1970-71 season, UCLA won this 88-game winning streak. They won 15 games. So how many games did they actually play?
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. So he, so my memory serves well here. UNLV was
Sharp as a
45.
tack.
90-91, they won 45 straight. So that's the
Larry
that's
Johnson,
like fifth longest. Stacey
Ogman, George
Anderson
Eccles, Hunt, and Anthony.
and David Butler was on that team too.
I thoroughly enjoyed beating them. in the
They
Final
beat
Four.
the brakes off of Duke the year
30
before.
points.
In Denver. The
30.
brakes.
I
Arizona
know.
should have beaten him. Kenny Lofton took like a charge that he like flopped on
The
a
year
charge
before, or
and
the
made a
year
three.
because the year they were undefeated, no one was close to them. They blew the brakes off of Loyola Marymount.
Correct.
That was as big of an upset as you could find that Duke beat them. I still think the fix was in. Greg Anthony fouled out with 5 minutes left. Just
It's fine. You want to
strange
hate on
game.
my team? That's fine.
No, I don't. I mean, they were pretty hateable.
Oh, one.
I mean, like
they're probably one of the 5 most hateable
It
teams
was-
still today.
yeah, operations.
It was March 23rd, 1989. Arizona was the 1 seed. UNLV was a 4 seed. So this must have been.
This was before.
that
this
was-
So it
run
was
started.
before. It's before they got Larry Johnson. It was
Yeah.
Greg Anthony, Anderson Hunt, David Butler, Stacey Ogman, and the center was George Eccles, and they had Moses Scurry was on that
George
team.
Scurry was
too.
on that team. Ackles and
Yeah,
Scurry.
and
yeah.
they beat. Oh man, Kenny Lofton, Judd the Stud Bushler, Sean Elliott, Matty Muehlbach, and
Sean
Anthony
Elliott
Cook.
was National Player of the Year that year.
Ken Lofton went 3 for 12 from the floor in that game. And
Rough
then
shooting.
He flopped in front of Anderson Hunt. Anderson Hunt hit a 3. He went 5 for 8 for 3 in that one. Anderson had 21. Elliott had 22, but Anderson Hunt had a 3 to beat him.
That was in the
62-67.
tournament?
Arizona
Yeah.
was the 1 seed that year. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I
then,
remember that.
Then they add Larry Johnson to the mix.
Yeah, he came from
In
junior
90.
college.
Yep.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. There you go. A little bit of history for the kids out there. So much more to come. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. So are we done now? Are we through the garbage weather? Is it a wrap? Can we get the pool?
The sun is supposed to come
furniture
out.
We pull furniture out time?
We're supposed to be back.
Well, back. We had like 4 days in beginning of April. And that
Yeah,
was
we're
it.
supposed
All
to
right,
be
here's
back.
what we got. We're gonna
Give it to me straight.
We're gonna have. It's gonna be nice
Shoot
through
me
Monday. Tuesday's gonna hit the high of 70, but rain, and then it's gonna be raining next Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
It's like
55
10
to
days from now,
60%,
though.
but
A lot can change.
The low temp that we're gonna have once we get to this weekend, we're gonna be 65 or above for I feel like the rest of the way.
So the big key to this whole operation, as I'm looking at this, is like tomorrow here at the undisclosed location is like a 40% chance of rain, and then 0% Friday. So the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you have a chance
For
to
a
maybe
really
dry
nice weekend.
a little bit of this out.
Yeah.
And then then next week it is what it is. But just then it looks like we're through it. So I think we could say,
At least from a temperature standpoint.
yeah, once we're through today, we're through it, right? I mean, is that where we're at?
I'd like to think so.
It feels like it.
Yeah. All right. There you go, kids. Enjoy your first Friday. Oh, congratulations to my guys at High Bank Distillery, Whiskey War. 3 times in a row, they won Best in Show, Best Blended Whiskey in America. They did it again at the San Francisco World Spirits Competition.
That's incredible. I saw you tweet that out.
3 of them for my guys. So that's
3 times,
that's
3
heady,
time Best in
heady
Show.
stuff.
That's legendary.
That is. Good job out of them. The next level is coming up next. We're back tomorrow. Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.